Fantastic. So my name's Jasmine. I'm the Client Insights and Effectiveness Director at Southern Cross Austereo, and I've got a case study to share with you guys today that kind of ticks a couple of the boxes with some of the challenges that we have as an audio industry. So this case study, there we go, is for HD Brows. So BioBeauty was bringing to Australia, and BioBeauty is an SME, a product called HD Brows. So this case study is all about a product launch for a category that normally utilises a lot of visual mediums to bring their campaigns to life. So one thing we want to showcase here is how we brought that campaign to life and some of the fantastic results that the brand got from this campaign. So in terms of the challenge, we wanted to get HD brows on the lips and the eyebrows of salon owners and consumers in Australia. HD Brows was entering the Australian market for the first time, and it was the first time utilising audio advertising. And we wanted to look at creative ways to build brand awareness, but also drive action for the brand. So our approach was about bringing a smile to the face for those wanting those perfect brows. And so we wanted to mix some humour, some conversation, and weather and strong brand values in order to bring this campaign to life. So I'll share with you a very quick video that kind of encompasses all of those approach and challenges together.
There's no denying it. Dynamic audio has forever changed the way we advertise to our audiences, and our proprietary dynamic ad technology allows for an extraordinarily adaptable audience experience, opening up an incredible level of instant personalization for our clients.
Beat the heat with a warm yourself with a hot coffee. Head to the App Store and save. Download now from Google Play. It's Sydney's favourite. Melbourne's favourite. The perfect afternoon pick-me-up.
Recently, HD Brows experienced just how powerful this tool is. After a 133% increase in awareness, a massive boost in recall, and a 400% increase in product consideration. To maximise their campaign, HD Brows used our dynamic creative optimization ad technology to tailor their message across broadcast and digital audio by weather,
even the cloudiest day,
product,
HD Brows Pro Pencil,
and call to action.
Shop online at hdbrows.com.au.
And according to the client,
so we've got some really good results, increased brand awareness of about 134%, and we've got a huge recall, which I think is a really powerful metric of about 75% roughly, which we're really pleased with.
It just goes to show, when you combine huge audio audiences, instantly personalised commercials, and finely tuned digital targeting, everybody wins. SCA's dynamic audio for broadcast and digital. What can it do for your brand?
There we go. So one of the amazing things that we can do with audio is bring to life that theatre of the mind. So when you're reading a book, you create this visualisation of what you're reading, and audio allows people to do the same thing. So when you utilise creativity well, it allows that theatre of the mind to come true for brands. So the way that we approached this was having dynamic audio to create different messages for different audiences at different times of the day, for different products and different call to actions. So we know that when messages are relevant to audiences, to environments, to time of day, they are more likely to succeed with with consumers. So these are some of the different iterations that we utilised. So we had weather, we had different products that we were putting forward, and different call to actions. So this is kind of what it sounded like.
Even the cloudiest day is a beautiful day when your eyebrows are on point. Whatever the weather, rock those summer. The weather is fine, your mood is fine, but your eyebrows, are they really fine? Whatever the weather, rock those summer. Even the foggiest day is a perfect day when your eyebrows are on point. Whatever the weather, rock those summer. Are your eyebrows rainproof and sweatproof and swimproof? Whatever the weather, rock those summer. If this windy day is messing up your eyebrows, then we need to talk about your eyebrows. Whatever the weather, rock those summer...
And now I've hit you with frequency, so now you're all going to go look it up. So one of the really important things to us at SCA is kind of closing the loop on effectiveness. So not only delivering great campaigns, but also measuring them and learning them. So what we did was a brand lift study with audiences, and what we saw was 1 in 3 of the target audience felt more positive towards HD Brows as a result of hearing the ads. They were the 4th most recognised brand in their competitor set with 133% growth, and there was 111% awareness lift in their prompted awareness numbers. So some really fantastic results for a new brand that was coming into market. We saw consideration grow by 400%, unprompted ad recall also grow by 500%, and 7 in 10 of those exposed to the campaign took some form of action as a result of hearing these ads. And after hearing them for that many times, hopefully you guys will too. And again, closing this loop and looking back to kind of what we learned a little bit earlier around State of the Nation and how important it is to measure these audio campaigns, closing that loop and what are those key learnings that we can take to brands and to clients for those future campaigns. So some of the key learnings that we found throughout this campaign were males still have an interest in this product category. How can we target them? Looking at whether it was young Australians or older Australians that engage more with this brand. The dynamic variations, what creative was driving the most amount of impact and can we optimise as a result of that? And then we also look at category information. So a lot of the brand lift studies that we do, we look at how these consumers are engaging with this category so we better understand how we can target them and also what is going on in that macro environment or category environment that we need to be aware of. And we also want to find out straight from our listeners what they thought of the campaign. So as I mentioned earlier, 1 in 3 felt more positive towards the brand as a result of hearing the campaign. And you'll see on the screen there some of the quotes from our audience around what they thought of this campaign and what they did as a result. Now, unfortunately, Brad couldn't be here with us today to give his, testimonial of how the campaign worked, but I've popped on the screen there one of his feedback to us about the campaign. So not only did they experience a jump in the sales and the increase in the brand awareness, but they are continuing to see momentum off the back of that campaign and engagement that has helped establish themselves in the Australian market. So that was HD Brows, but we also have run something recently with ESS, which was another SME brand, similar concept in terms of dynamic creative. They had a 50% increase in awareness, 1 in 5 felt more positive towards the brand, and 2 in 5 of those exposed audience did something as a result of hearing that campaign as well. Now I'll pass over to Jono just to give a little bit of an update of some of the other ways that we've been utilising the technology.
Thanks, Jazz. So I'm just here to speak to the geeks in the room and maybe dumb down some of how we did all of this. Dynamic creative is not new. I'm sure a lot of people are saying, yeah, we've heard about this before. I think the key takeout with all this is how it actually just informed our ability to drive creativity with a category that doesn't typically use audio. And again, going back to the IAB study, there was a particular call out there of, I think it was lack of creativity or something in regards to radio or streaming. And I think this is where you can then use the technology for insights and creativity there. So you've got the capability to change that creative and personalize it in a world where, you know, cookies are disappearing, various IDs are changing, context and personalization is only going to get harder. So this type of technology becoming ubiquitous is critical for everyone. So as Jazz mentioned, we did that for Executive Security Solutions, another SME that has not historically worked in audio and some company that works typically B2B. And we've very recently adapted new data technology where we can integrate live sports scores into the creative. So just to comment on how this works, this isn't kind of smoke and mirrors about specifically, setting live a 30-second ad when, the weather is a particular temperature, the individual components of the ad actually dynamically change and stitch together a new script each time in real time, based on those components, like the technology of the device. So as you heard in those intros, it might say you're on your Apple phone, for example. That portion of that 3 seconds or so gets stitched together with other components in real time to make a new script. And the most recent one is now integrating live sports scores, which, very proud to say, was a global first, which we were able to do with Macca's. And I don't know how to use the remote here, ironically, to make the example play, but have a
Well,
listen.
Storm fans will be happy with that. Well done, Melbourne, on the win tonight. But to satisfy those post-game hunger feels, order all your Macca's favourites with McDelivery now. Grab one of our dinner bundles for the whole family, or break away from the pack and order your favourite Macca's feed. Whether you're celebrating or commiserating, Friday nights are for footy and fresh, hot Macca's. Swing by the drive-thru on the way home, or get McDelivery.
So as you heard, the start of that was a real-time stitching together of the result of the match. The end of it was a real-time stitching based on kind of the time of the evening, about swing by on the way home. We ran some amazing tests over one round across NRL matches and AFL matches. I nearly had a heart attack when I was listening to one and heard the mention of a draw. Thinking that the whole system had collapsed, and then it turns out we actually did have a draw in the AFL, and so it worked. We were astounded, and I think this is now showing the new power of audio and the technical capability that finally brings it to maturity, as a lot of the research was talking about. And that I don't have a way to end that sentence. So, any questions? No? Great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.